Hi, I'm Taryn Everdeen. I'm 19 years old and I'm from England. 3 years ago, I sent an email that has changed my life. As a child, I loved to read, and there was one book in particular by a woman called Carolyn Meyer that I absolutely adored. It was called Beware Princess Elizabeth, and it talked through the life story of Elizabeth I. I took it everywhere I went. I could quote passages of this book from memory, and it really sparked an interest in history, and in the Tudors in particular, that stayed with me for several years afterwards. When I was 15, I went with my family to visit the childhood home of Anne Boleyn, who is one of the wives of Henry VIII. And I remember thinking, wow, why am I so fascinated by all of this history? And I thought back to those books and the big role that that had played in my life, and I decided that I wanted her to know. That evening, I got home and I wrote an email. I told her how much her books had impacted my life and how much her books had meant to me. And within 24 hours I had a response. She looked me up on YouTube, found some of my videos and said, "Sometimes, regardless of age, gender or background, I feel a connection with people. You're one of those people and I want to find a way for us to work together." As you can probably imagine, I was thrilled to get such a response, and I was curious about what she meant by working together. So I replied, I said, "Hi Carolyn, lovely to hear from you. Up for it, nice and chill." I was quite calm, and she responded with the idea for a book. I'm in no way qualified to write a book. When I was a child, I had this wild dream of becoming an author and writing a bunch of novels, but I kind of forgot about that when I realised I wasn't really any good at it. So that was quite a scary thing, but I said yes. At the time that she wrote to me, Carolyn Meyer was 83 years old, living in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and she just started a new hobby, improvisation. And part of that is that you go into a situation and you say yes, and you give somebody a gift of a word, a phrase, an idea, and you roll with it. And essentially that's what our collaboration has been. So from that, we headed over to Google Docs and developed the idea for a novel. We write from the perspectives of two different characters. Hers is an 18-year-old boy living in 21st century America. Mine is a 16-year-old girl from 16th century England. There's a bit of time travel magic. They meet, and the whole novel is set against the backdrop of religious upheaval in 16th century England. I'm not going to say any more because spoilers, but that's the premise. For the first year, we went back and forwards on Google Docs. I'd write a bit, she'd write a bit, she'd tear my chapter to shreds, constructive feedback. And then we reach July 2018 and she flies over from America to visit me in England. We spent 2 weeks working together side by side with our laptops, going through what we'd already written, refining our first draft, and then we went and played. We explored the city, we went to London, we stayed with my aunt. Despite our 66-year age gap, we connected and we became friends. Then a year passes and I continue working in the background. I have my studies and I have a whole bunch of things that I'm juggling at the same time, and I have this idea. I could take a gap year and go visit her in America and finish the book. So I suggested it, she was on board, and August came, 2019, I went over to America and stayed with her for a month. From 9 until 3 p.m, we sat side by side working on our final draft, and we'd give each other feedback, we'd talk about how we wanted to evolve our ideas. I was there in her study with her right next to me, it was wild. And then the afternoon came, and that was my time. So I headed out into the city of Albuquerque and I explored. I learned how to find myself a community from scratch. I made friends at open mics. I was really pushed outside my comfort zone in a world where I knew nobody and nobody knew me, and I had to just create myself in the way that I wanted to be seen. So the month is up and we've finished the first draft of our novel. That's an incredible feeling, but there was still more work to be done. Lockdown hit and I was back to writing. After having feedback from her agent, we redrafted it again, transforming some of the storyline. Now that's with the publisher and we're waiting for the next steps, but if it does get published, the book is going to be called Mirror of Time. So honestly, it was an absolutely incredible journey. It still feels very, very surreal. But I think The main thing that I've learned from it is that impossible things can happen, and it can be you, and you should say yes. And you don't have to be qualified to say yes. As I said, I am in no way qualified to write a novel. Even after having written one, I'm not qualified. But that doesn't matter. It's the other experiences you get, the learning that you can take from other people, and I really believe that collaboration is a beautiful and powerful thing. So reach out to people, reach out to the people you admire, tell them you admire them, and say yes.